Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're actually going to be working on my 2008 335 Xi with the big single turbo on her, and today we're going to be making a brand new front splitter. Now if this is your first time ever seeing one of my videos, this is my 2008 BMW 335 Xi. All-wheel drive, got the big Doc Race single turbo kit on here, an M18 just valve cover, motor's completely stock. I think either the last video of this, I showed you my brand new carbon fiber hood, looking all fancy, and the hood is always up because it's always kind of broken. Anyways, this whole entire car, me and my wife did. We wrapped it, wide bodied it, but the wrap on this front bumper never turned out very well, but we're gonna try to redo it and cut a little bit off of it because I have an idea for these little air ducts here. Right now it's not functional. Right now this front splitter is completely not functional. It's a little plastic guy, actually does absolutely nothing. The only thing it does is just drag on the ground and kind of look cool, but it's plastic, and when it's hot it warps and everything. It's just bad. So how we're gonna make this splitter all nice and actual functional, we're gonna have it come out. We're not gonna mount to the bumper anymore, we're gonna actually mount to the chassis of the car, but we'll get to that once we get this bumper off and this front splitter off. Okay, now that we got the bumper off, now we can actually work with the stuff behind it. So I took a few minutes to figure out where I want to do with the brackets for holding up my front splitter here. I'm going to use these two bolts. There's this on both sides. It's for the tubing of the frame, so that will be a solid mount coming down, holding the splitter here. Also, there's a big old metal plate that goes here usually, but it's been off because, you know, this thing's leaking oil all the time. So these two bolt holes here, I'm gonna use that as a mounting plate just to hold the front splitter on in the back here. So it'll be like 1, 2, 3, and 4 points of attachment. And then as we get further out, I'm gonna use some eye hole bolts for cords. They hang up on the other sides for some extra support of attachments. Okay, so I'm going to start doing this as I'm going to go underneath, measure everything out, and kind of just make a boxy square out of this plywood over here. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. So as you can see on my picture here, it's very horribly drawn, and it's on a friggin' box of wire because that's all I have. Anyways, so I measured out this kind of template here. It's not gonna have the rounded edges at first, but anyways, got 4 feet from front to back. A roundabout, it's like 3.5 feet, but I'm just gonna have 4 feet with room to work with. If I want to move it forward or backward, I'm gonna stay in front of the front axles, but all the way across we're gonna do 7 feet. It's actually gonna be around like 6 feet 10 inches. That'll give me 2 inches of wheelway and 33 inches across the bottom here. I can do 33 inches, but I would like to do 32, I think, just to clear the tires. I don't know yet, but we'll see. And then maybe I might make some little edges here to just let the tires go by. We'll see. Anyways, I'm gonna cut this out on a piece of wood. I actually need to find out how long this distance is, actually, thinking about it. So let me figure that out, and I'll write it down, and I'll cut it and transfer it on a piece of wood. All right, I don't know if you guys can see this here, but I have all my markings laid out. 7 foot across here, 4 foot across. This is just a 4 foot by 8 foot board, so cut off to 6 inches on both sides, a foot up high here to clear the wheels. The tires are going to be right there. Anyways, I'm going to cut out this template, and then we can actually put it up against the car, and then we can kind of find out where all the curves and everything are going to be. this piece of wood here, I got everything marked out where I want to put everything. I made a little 5-inch spacer, so I'm going to put this up against here and just basically follow along the line and have a Sharpie on here and just trace out our little 5-inch space. Okay, now that I have everything marked out on here, I got my line all done. I'm gonna go and cut this, and then we'll go toss it underneath the car again, take a little bit more measurements, and see if we have to trim anything up. Alright, we got this all cut out, starting to actually look like something. Super excited about that, so let's go and throw it underneath the car and see what we gotta do after that. Alright, got this all kind of mocked up here. I might drill the holes for where the mounting points are going to be, but I think I'm going to make this kind of more flat and then put little canards on the end here. But now I'm going to try to mark up the holes where I'm going to put my mounting points for this thing. Okay, so for the 2 points that are in the very back, right here and right here, I showed you earlier those 2 little threaded holes that are already in there for that metal pan. I measured it out, so right here I'm going to drill 2 half-inch holes and throw the bolts in and then see if those line up good. And then once those are in, then we'll have an actual fixed point to start adding different bracing and stuff onto the car. Okay, I went underneath here and threw up 2 bolts, just temporarily, no washers or anything on there, just have it threaded through. So that's holding up the back end of it right now. So what we're gonna do, if you can see right in here, I have that little line that goes straight across there. So I'm gonna put a plate across all that, and then we can start putting up our little brackets. And right now, this is exactly where I want the splitter to sit. So I can take off this front bumper and measure things up. Okay, so as you can see that I have this steel L bracket here, and I'm going to do another piece of steel going up into these 2 bolts here that are holding on to the tubing for the frame. So I'm going to try to pop off these bolts here and make any room that I need to do to put the steel piece right here, and then once I get it all figured out, I'm going to mark all my holes and then I can start drilling. Okay, so I went at this kind of aggressively. I'll show you what I did on the other side, but for right now, let's get this done. I gotta go and make some more brackets and bring it down a little bit. So let me go cut that. I burned a hole in my pants. For real though. Oh gosh, it's melting. Almost fried my ball sack off. Okay, so for this plate here, we're gonna go slide her in between. Don't know how I'm going to. But anyways, I cut this. I think it's like the bottom support for this, but it already has support up top. Anyways, what I'm saying is that it's not going nowhere. The radiator and the intercooler isn't going anywhere, so it should be good enough. This sucker is going to slide in between these 2 pieces of metal here, and it'll be mounted up there with the bolts. Let's mark out the holes for here, and we'll drill 2 holes down here, and we'll mark it on the L bracket. Alright, so as you guys can see right here, I have it all nice and mounted up. Down here I have the L bracket. I'm going to drill the holes in the L bracket first, and then drill the holes onto the plate that's coming down. Now if you're thinking that plate's going to bend, it might. I probably should have done 2 L's on each side that come down and do like an L thing down at the bottom. Anyways, I don't think that's going to bend. It's really freaking stiff. There's someone screaming in the background. But yeah, it's really stiff. If it bends, then I'll just do that, but for the time being, I don't think it's going to bend as long as I don't hit anything. What in the frick is that noise? Anyways, I'm going to show you what I did over on the other side. So if you're a visual learner, hopefully that will help better. Guys, as you can see, it's a little dark outside. I got this basically all mounted up all the way across. Got the brackets all put together. Sorry it's really dark, but this thing is freaking solid. I am pretty confident that this is sturdy enough. I mean, a lot of people would just leave it like this with just two supports on it, but I'm gonna go the extra step. I'm gonna put the bumper back on here, see where I can clear 2 little eye bolts. All right, so it's the next morning. I got this bumper on here. I don't know where I left off last night, but I have decided that I am going to do 2 splitter rods through the bumper, going to probably on the same mount that I have bringing down the brackets. One here and one here, just to give some extra support out here on the ends. I mean, it's not really going nowhere, but just for some extra support. I'm not going to be having people really stand on it too much, so don't really need all that much support, but just 2 extra ones, and I think we should be a-okay. But I decided I'm going to make this a part 1 video, and there will be a part 2, so make sure you subscribe for that. But I still have more done I can get done today, so we're going to continue going on, and I'm going to show you guys what I decided to do with the sides. So basically I've decided I want to do an end plate on the ends of these, so I'm going to cut 2 inches off of both sides. The end plate will come up about 4 inches tall. You don't want to go any more higher than that unless you have a wind tunnel to really check on what it's actually doing. Once you go above that, then it might actually end up not doing its job. So basically what an end plate stops the air from, because you have all this air pushing off here, and then it'll start curving underneath the car at the very ends, and then you don't want that, because then it'll start lifting the car and have a reverse effect. So with 2 little end plates here, that will kind of shoot the air off out away from the car. Okay, now that I got those both cut, I'm going to go with a router around all this, make all the edges kind of nice and soft, and take her off. I might do the bottom, route out the bottom of it too, so it's just like nice and smooth all the way around. Then after that, we're going to paint it and see where we go from there. Alright, now that the splitter's off of the car, we got it sitting here ready to be sanded down a little bit on the edges. Like this edge over here, I'm going to sand it down, and I'm going to Dremel this back part out a little bit. Not Dremel, what is it called? Routing. Yeah, I'm going to route out the back part over here. So yeah, let me get the router out and start routing out where I want to, and then I'm going to start sanding the edges a little bit, make it as smooth as possible. Alright, as you can see, we went around this all with some sandpaper, got all the edges kind of cleaned up and looking spicy. So right now we're gonna go get some paint and some deck sealant and clean her and paint her up. Hopefully she'll look good. Alright guys, that's pretty much where we're going to leave it off with today. Super happy with how this actually turned out. It looks really super clean. Like I said, I'm going to do a carbon fiber, actual woven carbon fiber, lay over top of this, epoxy it on there. I'm just doing this so then it's more waterproofed. I did deck sealant over top of this, so it should be pretty darn waterproof. I'm going to let this dry over the week, pretty much, because I'm going to be at work. So like I said, carbon and those front splitters is up next with this, and then we'll hard mount it onto the car. Just make sure you hit that subscribe button so then you guys can actually follow the build, and make sure you give it a big old thumbs up and tell me what you want to see next on the 335xi build. See you guys next time.